Okay. The most respected guest speaker for the day, Professor Zachariah Mathew, Associate Director for Center for Global Engagement, Indiana State University. He's done his Doctor of Philosophy, Higher Education Leadership and Administration, Master of Science in Recreation and Sport Management. He's provided leadership in the formulation and implementation and evaluation of campus and curriculum internalization plans to infuse international perspectives in teaching, research, and services to provide intercultural and global engagement experiences for domestic and international students. He has developed assessment tools for programs developed and global cultural learning outcomes, overseen development of collaborations and partnership with institutions of higher education and allied services abroad and domestic to enhance education, abroad options to engage students and faculty from all academic background, developed and implemented intercultural training programs for staff, faculty, graduate assistants, student workers, and students, developed and implemented leadership development and community engagement programs for international students, and collaborate with other units and campus to assure international student success. He has been the coordinator for recreation, sports, and wellness from August 2003 to July 2009. He's planned and administered, marketed, and evaluated recreation and wellness programs and workshops for traditional and non-traditional students, faculty, staff, and community, served as a member of the International Programs Committee, developed leadership training program for the Dorm Council and the resident assistants, coordinated media relations and webcasting of the NGCAA region 15 basketball games, scored the cross-country and track and field teams. He has taught credit courses including therapeutic recreation, freshman seminar, yoga, and Pilates. We also have the co-presenters. A warm welcome to Polina Kaniuka, who's a research assistant from the Indiana State University, Ukraine. And also Shabaaz Khan Pathan, graduate assistant, who's the president of the Indian Sports Association of the Indiana State University Badminton Club. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, Lakshmi National College of Physical Education, a warm welcome to the panel of experts headed by Dr. Zachariah, Polina, and Shabaaz. I also would like to welcome Dr. Rosa, who's the president of the International Association for Physical Education and Sports for Women and Girls, Dr. Darling Kluka, who's also the vice president of the International Association for Physical Education and Sports. I also welcome our principal, Dr. G. Kishore, and all the invited guests, and my dear participants. A warm welcome to one and all to this session of leadership development and community engagement through recreation sports. May I now request Dr. Zachariah, along with his team, for this session, please.
Morning and welcome again. This is my second session. I think I'm fortunate to have that opportunity to have two sessions with you all. Welcome once again, and thanks for taking the time to be part of this session. So my name is Zachariah. I work for Indiana State University, but more so, I am an alum of LNCPE. I graduated in '93, so that is my background. So today, we will be presenting about the leadership development model called the social change model. And we will, I have two of my students, my research assistant, graduate assistant, who will be talking about how they were able to implement. So as I said, once again, my name is Zachariah, and I work as the Associate Director for the Center for Global Engagement. I have my co-presenters, Polina. I think
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Shabaaz.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Did we lose your video or?
Hello.
Shabaaz,
No,
Shabaaz,
you
okay.
can speak a bit loud.
Me?
Okay.
Okay. So the primary objective of this session is to briefly reintroduce my previous session that I did on social change model on leadership. And then the major part of the time would be spent on talking about how our students on our campus were able to implement that theoretical model or the framework in developing a recreational sports club, and also to make sure that we provide the leadership, how these engagement provided the leadership opportunities for our students. So one is I'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes just to talk about the model that I already presented, because you might have, I am assuming there might be some students who have not attended the session, my previous session. So it will give you a little bit of an understanding of what it is. Let's start with an icebreaker. This is just to engage everybody and see, let's see where it goes, okay? So in the chat box, can you type who that is, number 33? Um,
Kobe.
no, number 33,
Larry
uh,
Bird.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. All right, okay. So let's say if you can get these three players. Just type it in the chat box.
Jordan, Magic Mike, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Okay, so we got it. So yes, Magic Johnson, Jordan, and Larry Bird. Anybody from what does this? Do you know from where this picture is, or what is the big deal about this picture, or what's the background?
Somebody said Dream Team.
Dream Team.
1996 Olympics.
92, I think. 92. Yeah, that's absolutely right. The Dream Team 92 Barcelona Olympics. So now, can somebody research which university Larry Bird attended?
Oh, might be Indiana State University.
Yes, Indiana State University. Yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
guessed it.
Yep, Indiana State University. Yes, absolutely. This is the dedication of his statue right in front of our basketball arena. It happened about 5 years ago. So yes, he played for Indiana State University in the 70s, in the late 70s. So that's where we teach. That's where we learn. That's where we work. The home of Larry Bird. I mean, we have had quite a few Olympians from Indiana State University. We have also had quite a few Olympians study at our university, but represent mostly West Indies Islands. So as I earlier said, we will be talking a little bit about the model that we had already discussed. So we were talking about the social change model. And generally, when we really talk about leadership culturally, we are so much exposed to, or we really think about leadership as an individual driven. So an individual influencing others to make changes or cause changes. So the social change model is not an individual based, but it is more a collective as an organization making social impact or social change. So in a social change model, we are really not looking at an individual, but collectively the talents of each individual contributing to the common good. So that's a social change model. And primarily this model was established or put together in 1996 to help universities develop leadership among their students, because leadership is a key aspect of student success or employability. So leadership is seen as a major what do you call employability skill, and plays a huge role. And Polina will talk more about how US universities provide a lot of opportunities about it. There are two purposes of the social change model. One is to create a an awareness of oneself, and to develop the competencies, and then cause change in the community. The social change model has seven competencies. Primarily, what it means is the social change model fosters or believes that there has to be these seven attributes that one needs to develop in order to make a social change or impact the community. Now, those are consciousness of self, which is understanding oneself or knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. Congruence is being able to practice what you believe in. Commitment is how much time, emotion, and how much are you willing to invest yourself in achieving a common cause. Collaboration are those skills that allows you as an individual to work together as a team within a community, a smaller community. Common purpose means every single individual in a group understanding and knowing and learning what that group really stands for, and believing in that common cause. And controversy with civility is when you're in a group, the chances are that if you are a group of 10 people, there would be 10 different perspectives. So the controversy with civility is you being able to address those differences. Again, we are not talking about conflict resolution here. We're more talking about understanding those differences and addressing those differences with civility, in a manner that you would absolutely respect the opinion of the other person, and yet and also make sure that those difference of opinions are taken into account. And citizenship here means you being a contributor to the community, understanding what the needs of the community is, and being able to contribute to the community. And the eighth, these are called the seven C's of the model, and the eighth one is change. So all these things, all these attributes of within yourself, and how you work in a team, and your sense of citizenship should cause change not only in the community but also self. It changes you, number one, and then it changes the group that you are in, and then combined, you within the group make changes in the community, or would help change happen in the community, and that change in the community in turn changes you as well. So it is a loop. We will talk a little more about that at a later stage. So as I said earlier, these seven C's are categorized or put into three different dimensions. One is the individual values, and those are the individual values are the ones, consciousness of self. As I said earlier, once again, it is one understanding what are the strengths and weaknesses. Congruence is again believing something and being able to practice that. Commitment is your level of commitment in terms of the time and emotions and the resources that you're willing to contribute to get to the common goal. And the second set of values are categorized within the group values. So these are those personal attributes or personal values that really help you to be part of a community. That is, those values or those qualities that help you to be a coherent part of the community or the group. And then the final one is societal values, which is about you knowing and believing in making those social changes. Now, these models, this model interacts with each other. So we were earlier talking about those uh, three three sets of values, the three categories of, or the dimensions. Now these have what you call they interact. The personal value, so your individual values of what individually you believe in, has an influence on the group, and those values, so what happens within those group can in turn influence you as well. So there is an information feedback that really happens. So who you are influences how you work within a group, and if who you are does not meet or match to the group values, there the existing values, there has to be some attunement or some kind of adjustment where you kind of have to negotiate and make some changes or maybe the group also has to make some changes. So there is that loop. And again, the value of the group or what happens in the group also influences what happens in the community. So, and the other way as well, it is also very important that the needs of the community is very well understood, so the group can contribute in the meaningful way. So if the group decides to do something for the community, and if there is no demand, or if that is not something that is of necessity, the group might, the society might reject it, or the community might reject it, or might not receive it. So there has to be some fine tuning between what the group believes in wanting to make, contribute to the society, community, and the other way as well. And the final loop is what happens in the community or the societal change will also influence you, and the other way. Keep in mind, it is you and your the values that has really influenced the societal change. So this loop just continues all through. And also in the last presentation, I spoke about how we generally think, and how we think in terms of, or how we really apply, or when we are asked to develop a program, we generally look in two levels. One is what is it we need to do, and then how do we really do it? So for example, I mean, if I take the example of what our students would be presenting about, they started a badminton club. Generally, the first thought is, what do we do? It's a badminton club. How do we do it? Oh yeah, get everybody. And we are really talking about the logistics. We are really talking about getting the badminton equipments. We are talking about getting the court. We are talking about the coach. So we just think in those two levels. However, I would encourage my audience, my teachers, to think beyond and think at three different levels. One is the why. So the why is pretty much the purpose. So you need to, when you're really developing a program, you really need to look at the why in terms of what is the purpose of developing this. You can always, I mean, if you really look at the old model or the other model of what and how, the purpose might be to develop game specific skills or physical or fitness or endurance or agility, whereas in this case you're really not looking at the attributes. The attributes falls into what you want to achieve. So the why becomes something more bigger in terms of making a much broader impact, which takes a lot of your belief system, the it is about coming up with a purpose. So it could be more in terms of making a social change or making a cultural shift. So that is where the why comes into play, and the how here becomes whatever you're using, be that a club or a community coaching program or whatever it is, becomes how you do it, and what becomes the result. So what is that you want to achieve? It's physical fitness, student leadership, community engagement, all those things becomes those what that can be measured as outcomes. So again, I would encourage you to think at the why first. And this is what my student, I mean, Polina and Shabaaz would be talking about, is how do you really, how they were able to look at the whole institution and really apply all these things, this particular theory, into practice and develop a very successful badminton club. At the end of the very first year, they were honored with the most developed club and the most committed club on campus within the very first year. Started off with 2 or 3 people just spending some time to finally having about 60 committed players attending the session on a regular basis. So now I hand it over to Polina to talk about how we were able to look into the why, how, and what, and take it from here. Polina, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, again. And before I talk about the application of the model to our recreation club, badminton club, I would like to say a couple of words about the education in the United States and why it is sought after by so many international students from all around the world, including me from Ukraine and Shabaaz from India. So the reason why we both came to the United States to pursue our graduate degrees was the fact that education in the United States is truly hands-on, and every classroom can be a learning lab. In addition, campus provides students with a lot of work and leadership opportunities that can help them develop their skills and work ethics, which is highly sought after when we graduate and look for jobs. I truly believe that Indiana State University and our graduate assistantships at the Center for Global Engagement, the work with Dr. Zachariah Mathew, and also our participation in a one-year-long international student leadership development program that was also started by the Center for Global Engagement, gave us an opportunity to apply our knowledge and our leadership skills in creation of the club. When two of us, with a couple of other badminton enthusiasts, came together and thought about developing a sustainable recreational club that will truly be a success and will develop into a larger organization, it was important for us to go back to the knowledge of the knowledge that we gained from our leadership development program. And also with the guidance of Dr. Zachariah Mathew, we tried to look at a bigger picture and see how our future club, our recreational club, badminton club, will fit into the institutional mission. So if you see the mission statement of Indiana State University is to transform the lives of students through a high quality education infused with experiential learning, community engagement, and career readiness. And so likewise, what Zachariah was encouraging you to do, I would encourage our audience also, when considering to create a club or develop a program, any kind of initiative, it's very important to look at the bigger picture and to see how your program or your initiative resonates with either Kelo India initiative, if you're a part of this big successful initiative, or your institutional mission in general. Also, at the next slide, you will see that all the departments of Indiana State University support and enhance the mission statement of Indiana State University. It is the Division of Student Affairs and Campus Recreation are those departments that, with the help of educational programs, support academic success of students. As you can see, the mission statement of the Division of Student Affairs resonates with the overall mission of the Indiana State University. Campus Recreation, CR, under the umbrella of the Division of Student Affairs, provides students with multiple fitness opportunities through an exceptional gym facility, 18 sports club under the umbrella of club sports, intramural sports, and some special events in a safe and inclusive environment. I would like to highlight the importance of having a safe and inclusive environment, which is the guarantee that Indiana State University gives to any student entering the campus. In order to maintain the safety and inclusiveness of the students on campus, there are a number of services working on campus, including availability of 24/7 public safety with the police department, and also the Title IX office that has the authority to investigate allegations of sex discrimination and misconduct, different kinds of violence and harassment, etc. So in such a way, the safety and inclusive environment on campus is ensured by different services and different divisions on campus. At the next slide, I would like to bring your attention again to the way various departments in any organization should be coordinated towards the common purpose or the mission of the organization. So here you can see how student affairs with campus recreation contribute to the overall mission of the Indiana State University. So going from a specific purpose of the campus recreation ensuring health and wellness of the community on campus, they go to the bigger picture of the overall mission of the Indiana State University, which is transforming lives of students through experiential learning, community engagement, and career readiness. At the next slide, I would like you to see this graph, and whenever you are planning a program, I would like to one more time highlight that it is very important to make sure to follow up on your initiative in regards to see how your particular program fits in the overall picture, structure, or mission of your organization. In such a way, success and sustainable development of your initiative will be ensured. It will not be just the program or initiative that will last for a semester or two and then disappear. Now, Shabaaz is going to break down the elements of the social change model on the example of our badminton club.
So, as explained by Dr. Zachariah Mathew earlier about the model, it all comes from why, how, and what, and each having the aspects of explaining everything. I would like to go ahead and explain the badminton club in this leading change model. And starting from the why, uh, before we go ahead, I would just give you a brief, as explained earlier by Polina, that uh, our badminton club was a group of students who came together with a common motive to enjoy and learn the recreational sport. Every member was just able to take out time and form a discipline to meet at fixed timing. Initial recreation and enjoyment in sport portrayed as future benefits, such as creation of a club could have more opportunities, such as availability of courts every week, procuring the necessary equipments for the beginners in the club, etc., etc. So, going to the first point, why? Why? As a badminton club, obviously, a sport always promotes health and wellness for every individual. And we can see that this badminton club was created out of necessity, a basic group where we were just a bunch of people and then we just played along and then we were able to create a badminton club. And then this badminton club consists of majority of international students. They are international students from different places such as Saudi Arabia, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Japan, and many different people. It's also from Ukraine, as Polina is a part of it, and Sweden. So it has created an opportunity for different international students to utilize the space to come together. So it has made a platform for everybody. And then this platform has created a student engagement where students were not only just a part of studies, career, or going to their work. Moreover, after this, the students were able to engage on campus with the sports, and the students had this opportunity to come and know each other. And over here, we were able to develop leadership qualities in us, where a club has a different opportunities of becoming a member, and then the member has different positions which they haven't thought of ever they could be doing. So there were multiple leadership opportunities given to us, and then there was a community building and engagement program while coming together, where we felt like it has been badminton club has been a community itself, where we have become a family away from family, because we are away from our all our countries, and we are here in Indiana State University, and we have used this platform to get together and build bonds with each other. So going to the next slide, it says about what what could basically define as the purpose of this badminton club, or the benefits one could seek in from the badminton club. So coming from the what, it again obviously shows over the health and wellness of the students, health and wellness of the employees, staff, and different people. So it's not just a badminton club which was more into competition. We were also a recreational club. So it has been a sports student club on campus, which gives us importance, being a club, and then developing us for multiple opportunities. And then it has given us a student development platform, which could be explained with an example like being people from different countries and different global perspectives. They could be some scenarios where we have been faced like a different person from different culture trying to be with us, trying to like just involve in the game, but unknowingly the fact someone would have stereotyped someone like they have been like taken over a small measure, and then those people being the part of the club, being the member, have shown the student development in them, where they have changed from just being a regular stereotype person now to an encouraging and supportive person. The same person, we could see a change where they have changed and supporting the new members of the club to encourage the sport, to learn the game, to be to able to socially connect to each other. And then the next thing which could be explained is the friendship and the networking. So the networking is also Dr. Zachariah Mathew, the previous slide. Yeah, so the networking, in this networking, to explain about the networking, it could be anywhere, anytime. And networking could be explained that just a meeting of new members in the club, we were able to go to different opportunities. Giving self example, I can explain that I was given an opportunity previous year during the last summer to engage with a group of Korean students who were a basic primary teachers who have come to learn the program. And I had given an opportunity to teach them how to teach the basics of the sports again. I was not in a competing or a coaching session, but I was just given an opportunity to teach the session to the group of students how to know badminton or the basics of badminton, where they had to develop the same course again for a third grade kid or a fourth grader kids. So I'm basically from an engineering background. I just had love for the sport from past 12 to 15 years, you can say. So getting this as an opportunity, I utilized this platform of networking from being an engineering background to a complete sports background, and was able to provide this session. So it could be an example of self networking, I could say. And then a networking still could go ahead and showing an opportunity such as um, a simple person named Jack, who could be said as like a member of the club. Currently, let's say Jack is a guy from a small town of Indiana State, and then he does not know who are international students, who does not know like how the different culture is. He comes to ISU. He's been the member of the badminton club, and being the member of the badminton club, he was able to see that there are multiple global perspectives where different people, he is meeting the people from uh, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, India, and he's getting to know everyone. So he has changed his more mindset, I can say, like the way he didn't knew, like he had no idea how an international student will be. They have changed into a different perspective. So this could be explained as a social engagement of a student. So it's just not a sport, what we can see. It's also more of a social engagement. So the next slide, it says how we have used this badminton club as a platform. So coming to the creation of the badminton club, this could be talked as a vehicle, where this in this vehicle there are multiple things come together. If everybody sits in that vehicle only, then it's gonna be a joyful ride. So in this vehicle, I would like to explain that there were the roles of uh, an advisor, president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary from the badminton club. So coming this all to be an executive board. So this executive board had requirements from the club sports to be a badminton club on campus. This rules and regulations were one of the mandatory rule was to have a CPR certification. A CPR certification, which is used as a first aid, which was given to which was mandatory for at least 3 of the executive board members while they are having the session. In case of emergency, you never know. This is a sport. Anybody can get anything, and anything could happen anytime because it's a sport. One has to be always ready with the first aid. This CPR certification has trained us to be part of the CPR helpful issue, like giving them the first aid in need of emergency. And then after this, the next mandatory rule was to have a membership fee for every member in the club to acquire the necessities for practice, which could be just the basic birdies or a couple of rackets for the beginners in the club. And the fee was very minimal. It was not given as like a huge one that a person would see like, no, I don't want to be the part of the club as this fee is so high. So we kept it as minimal as possible so that everybody could enjoy this recreational sport. And then we had created this safe and open space for everybody, every student to open themselves to talk openly so that their voice is heard. No one is left unheard in our badminton club. We have given everybody the equal opportunity. And most of it all comes from our advisor. Our advisor can be explained as the heart of our club, who has always supported us, always given us multiple initiatives, like to go ahead for every opportunity we could see for the development and growth of our club. And most of all, I would like to say, like, our advisor was also a part where we were like, every new member comes into the club, they have welcomed them heartfully so that they are not left out. Initially, what happens if a person comes in, he wants to enjoy the sport, but he sees like there are already a couple of people from different countries being formed in a groups and everything. They would feel offended, but they would like to leave. But no, our advisor has taken a step and also taught us how to invite members that they are not left out. So our advisor has helped us a lot in our club. And then talking about the executive board was also a core committee of our club, which being the major part of this vehicle in which we are going through. The executive board for the club was core club core, which was responsible for decision making and running of the club. We were able to come up with a pattern of practice that included all the members without any description to teach the game whoever was interested to learn. It was not like only the were taught with a professional game with a high intensity practice and everything. We have created a pattern where we play everything with everybody, and every single member gets to play with every highest professional level so that he learns the game. He is not being left out. So that's what been taken care of. And then executive board of the club was also responsible and accountable to organize, host, and manage multiple events for the club. And our executive club work together to further traveling, competition, and stay at different tournaments. So this is how I can say the how of badminton club. And then this ISLDP, which is International Student Leadership Development Program. I have been there in the last summer. It has guided me. And the mentorship from the Center for Global Engagement from Dr. Zachariah Mathew has guided me to look forward for the badminton club opportunity. And that's when it all has been started. So going to the next slide, I'm going to explain the 7Cs model, which shows the qualities, how to develop the conscious of self, where conscious of self basically talks about awareness of one's strengths and weaknesses, as explained by Dr. Zachariah Mathew. So in our badminton club, we provide safe and non-judgmental environment for everyone for who they are, irrespective of their physical fitness, irrespective of their personality. One could be a shy person, one could be an open person. Organization skills, communications, strengths, and weaknesses were not they judged at all. It was given everybody an equal opportunity. So we created this rotation rule where everybody had to switch between the courts for every 20 minutes. In those 20 minutes, every single player, irrespective of their professional game, if they are really high, if they are just a beginner, they still get an opportunity to play with everyone. And then we had a diverse background. As explained earlier, we were people from different countries. So it gave us and different backgrounds of our cultures as well as different backgrounds of our uh, careers. We are not only the engineers, we were not only the teachers such as Polina, we are not only the nursing background. We all came together into different people. So it was a great opportunity for every one of us to consciously know the awareness of ones. And going ahead, uh, Paulina will take over.
Mhm. So, how do we develop congruence in our group? As Shabaaz has mentioned, the first C was about consciousness of oneself. When we look at our club, we see a very diverse group comprised of members of different backgrounds, personality types, strengths and weaknesses, different levels of language proficiency, different levels of organizational and leadership skills. And in order to secure harmony and also to make sure that every single member practices what they believe in and at the same time contribute to the organization in a meaningful way, when all the responsibilities of the club are delegated among the members, it was highly important to make sure that it was highly important to consistently work and foster a judgment-free, safe, and open space for every member's self-expression, to build trust and respect to other people's opinions. With the help of team building that we carried out during our social gatherings, when we celebrated birthdays and achievements, sometimes we also came together to debrief on some misunderstandings that happened in the club. So in such a way, we have been constantly working on improving our congruence of the club. And one more time, I would like to mention that our advisor played a great role in this. Also, Center for Global Engagement gave us some mentorship in terms of how to deal with certain misunderstandings and some difficult situations. As a result, all these opportunities, again, empowered every single member to delegate, to contribute into the well-being of the club, to contribute to create the harmony in the club, and also to so-called walk the talk. In such a way, I think we truly were able to reach consistency, accountability, and ownership in our club. And next, Shabaaz will talk about how we also ensured commitment for every single member.
Okay, thank you, Paulina. So, how to develop commitment? Commitment can be easily explained as personal investment of time and effort to achieve the common purpose. So, in our badminton club, we were providing the support system and the resources to lead for every member. It was like supporting each other, a platform where which can say like initially there were a couple of requirements whenever a person would interest to join the club. They did not have the rackets, they did not have the birdies or the shuttles to play the game. So we supported everyone, like giving out the initial rackets to help them to like not to step back from what they are and to learn the game. They came forward and being supported with this welcome, they were really happy. And then there were different needs of different cultures of people, like they would like to know this, they would like to know that. These all were met in the best way, providing everything. And then the schedule was decided of practice according to everybody's availability. It was decided between the group that everyone has their own opportunity to say that they are free at so and so time, they are not. after combining everybody's collective decision, you were able to make the schedule timing. And the ownership of the club was also given by, you can say, like with the, as they paid membership fee, obviously they have felt like they have the right to utilize the platform. Obviously, one who pays for it would not head back thinking like, let's just leave it. If it's offered in free, people might think like, yeah, it's just a free thing, I would like to try for once. But when you are paying for it, you are making sure that you would like to go back and utilize this thing what you have paid for. And the sharing of equipment has been a major aspect in our club, where whenever there has been an issue, like somebody broke their racket, somebody forgot their racket or something, any of the equipment, we used to share our equipment so that they are not being left out, and they are not just going back home empty handed, that oh, they do not have this to do. So sharing equipment has also made connect with each other, to bond with each other. And the social media, this platform, our advisor has majorly contributed a lot in this, where everybody was recognized and uh, personally reached out and acknowledged for their regular work and day-to-day life. Like if we had a session on this and this day, the same night the social media platform was used by our advisor to give them a thankful appreciation for their doing. So this is how we showed our commitment for our club, and you can look forward to it as well. And going ahead to Polina.
All right. What we have just now covered, that our club was quite a diverse group with people from multiple backgrounds, and at the same time, when we reached, when our group has achieved a high level of self-awareness, we got to know about our members' strengths and weaknesses. Also, we were able to encourage for our members to participate in contribution, or our executive board was able to delegate some of the responsibility, which fostered the commitment from the group. It was important for us to look about the ways, to look at the ways how we can, how all the members of the group can collaborate and contribute to the benefit of the organization in a meaningful way. So now I will just give a small example how in the middle of our first semester, which was probably a few months after the club had been created, we noticed that unfortunately our practices did not really foster the equitable access to the skill development of all our players, and I will explain why. So pretty much we would have same players play only the same opponents based on their skill level, and in such a way we noticed that there is no progress, and our beginner players do not have equitable access to skill development, meaning playing other badminton players with higher levels. So knowing that one of our executive board members, treasurer, was from a coaching background, Nasif just finished his master's in coaching. He was able to develop a perfect system, in our opinion, to ensure that equitable access to the skill development for all players. So what he did, he pretty much developed a rotation system that throughout our practices, every 15-20 minutes, we're supposed to rotate, and this rotation is random. So it's not that we decide based on our skill levels what players to play. What was important that Nasif committed himself to develop a better system, and that provided the equitable and equal opportunity for all the members. In other words, multiplying group effectiveness by capitalizing on various perspectives and talents. In this case, we had somebody with a coaching background, and on the power of diversity of our group, we generated some creative solutions for the club. At the stage when we were able to make sure that there is a collaboration between the members in our organization, we decided thinking about how we can further our collaboration not only within the badminton club, but move towards collaborating with other student organizations. Now Shabaaz will talk about how, after the development of collaboration among the members, we were able to also create the awareness of common purpose among such a large group of participants with different backgrounds.
So thank you, Polina. So common purpose is one of the major attribute, and then coming towards the common purpose, how can we define easily the common purpose? Common purpose is having a shared sense of purpose. Easy words. So in the shared sense of purpose, we can also go ahead and describe like our badminton club had shared vision of everybody for learning skill set, recreation, and fitness. So these were the major attributes which our badminton club promoted. It was not a competitive club, but we were still learning skill set, and we were part of the recreation. We are part of the fitness with the engaging with the club, and then benefiting themselves surely is a common purpose, which could be explained as the student development and the leadership skills, as explained earlier about the student stereotypes which have been changed. So it is a pure development of a student which has been seen, and then social gatherings and discussions where collective needs are met, such as whenever we had our social gathering of birthdays or we are going out for a dinner, we have been talking the conversations of everybody of the game, how the club is running, knowing every time about the feedback, if there is anything we have been left out, or like getting to know about the club is was more important for everyone all the time. And then welcoming a new member with the purpose of the club, just not by signing the contract where we have the behavior, the code of conduct, which says like club has so and so rules. It was just not the signature we needed. We also meant them the common purpose which our badminton club sees, which is also a stress relief kind of thing, where a employee or the faculty, after finishing their work, used to come down and enjoy the sport and relieve the stress and go back home happily. And then the value of the game was also a common purpose, and we always make sure that the feedbacks from the members were taken, so that if there are any voids, those can be addressed. So going ahead, Polina, to you.
Um, Thank you, Shabaaz. I really appreciate your last comment about that in case if we had some misunderstandings, we had to address them. And I would say that indeed, having such a big organization in terms of membership, we have raised to about 60 members or even more, and having people from so many, not only cultural backgrounds, but personality types and so on. Of course, we did experience some hard situations, and that's why it was really important for us to sometimes slow down and devote some time for discussing those issues. But the main idea was, no matter what the issue was, we had to always address it with the high level of civility. So, for instance, I will just mention a couple of hard situations that our club has faced throughout our existence. So at some point there were some mistrust in the leadership of the club, in the executive board. And so when we sat down and tried to discuss the issue with that, we realized that the club members not always knew the role and commitment of the executive board. So in such a way, as a result, we came together, and our executive board communicated with us all the contributions and all the responsibilities they've been working on. Another misunderstanding that we came across was based on our different language backgrounds. So at some point, we noticed that during our practices, some groups of students would just pretty much use their own native language. And we do respect the diversity of linguistic backgrounds of our students. However, we had to discuss this issue from the perspective that we're still a club, and we have people from different cultural and linguistic backgrounds, and it is important for us to stick to at least one common language. So in such a way, when we discussed the issue, the student concerns, we came to a common decision that English should be the main means of communication during our practices. And in such a way, we once again we tried to meet any misunderstanding or to address any issues with the high level of civility and respect among our members. Next slide covers about how to develop the level of citizenship. And as I have said, after having gone through some major developmental stages of our student organization, from simply getting to know each other and creating a high level of congruence, commitment, and collaboration to achieve the common purpose, our club went beyond. At this point, our club realized that we need to move on from our individual agendas to create some positive change for the community, given that how successful we were at the level that we were. And so we tried to think about ways how we can provide resources for those in need in the community. So at that point, we started looking for volunteering opportunities on campus and also at the community events. At the same time, we are planning multiple fundraisers to support various causes on campus. Last semester, we were able to collaborate with other club sports on campus and help them facilitate and help them host their tournaments. We helped the basketball club to host their intramural tournament, and they, in return, were also helping us with our intramural badminton tournament. At the same time, last semester, we've been closely working with physical education 101 class to create a platform to host a tournament where we can bring participants from other schools in the Midwest in such a way we will be able to promote economic development of the area of Terre Haute area. And also I would say that again we should not forget about all the networking opportunities that both our students and other students will be gaining from bringing together other schools to campus. I think another very important program that we are currently working on, and due to the COVID, it kind of was slowed down, was the after-school program for economically disadvantaged community. What our club is planning to do is, given that our club members have backgrounds in different areas, including teaching, including education, we are going to put together an after-school program where our badminton club members will be able to teach the youth in those economically disadvantaged community. And in such a way, we also will bring some resources to their community in terms of accessibility of sports, health, and wellness. In such a way, it will also help to promote health and wellness for the younger generation, but most importantly, I think it will help their student development and character building. And in such a way, I think that's a perfect way for us to give back to the community, give back to Indiana State University for all the opportunities that they gave us within these years that we were studying here. Thank you.
Zach, you have to unmute.
Thanks, Shabaaz. Sorry, my mic was off. So as you heard from Shabaaz and Polina, they really used recreational sports, badminton, as a vehicle to meet the need of a given community. You can look at the ISU as a large community, and there was a smaller community which really could benefit from that coming together. So they were able to use the badminton club, which is pretty common, or most international students play, or more international students play badminton than baseball or football. So they were able to use that as a vehicle to achieve the common goal. So it was not just developing game specific skills. So the purpose, the why, was to build a community around badminton. So the badminton became vehicle. So what they wanted to achieve out of it was just not the game specific skills. They wanted to achieve a sense of belonging, a sense of community, the sense of networking. And this networking is very important. As Shabaaz and Polina said, now this resonates with the very first presentation that you had about the village of 100. So this really builds up that perspective, understanding of each other, and also knowing people from around the world. Now, we were just talking, right now we are on the either end of the globe or the either side of the globe, and we have come together talking about the common purpose. So that's the networking opportunity as well. So that absolutely, this what it really leads for me as an administrator. This is the kind of this is the qualities that I really want the students to have, to go out to the real world and be able to face the challenges that they have right now today. Is they should not be just going out and maintaining the status quo, but challenge it. And we cannot do that if we do not provide them a safe learning environment. So that is what happens. To be able to have two of my students present at a conference or at a workshop that's organized by SAI and LNCP at this level builds a tremendous amount of confidence in my students. So even what they're doing right now is part of that why. Why should we have it? This is about building those qualities. So the why goes beyond what you really do. And also, if you really look at this this slide, earlier I was talking about the intersectionality, or how the feedback loop really works. So the qualities of each individual really influences the group dynamics, and when the individuals within the group literally determines what within their capacity what they can do for the community. So initially the group all they wanted was to play, but as it matured, as it developed, they started talking about teaching others to play. They started welcoming others. Now they are really thinking big. Shabaaz did not mention, but recently they got a $2,500 or $3,000 grant to organize a tournament on our campus. I think they mentioned about it, but the fact of the matter is, as part of the club, Shabaaz and Polina and other members got together and they had to write a grant proposal. As advisors, we did not tell them what to do. It is they developed it and we only guided them. So earlier in the beginning of this session, I was talking to Usha ma'am, we were saying, as advisors or as mentors, we don't drive these vehicles. We are the helmet and we are the bumper. So we don't stop them from falling, but we teach them how to fall and learn from that fall, so that the next time when they get up and they run, it does not happen. So this is all learning. And again, as a bumper, let them hit. It's okay. It is absolutely okay to fail. It is absolutely okay to fail as long as you learn from those failures. Teaching is not about not failing at all. Every time you fail, you learn that is not the right way to do, or you always learn something from it. So we are here to provide a safe environment for these students to really learn. Now, when you look at developing a program, again, in consideration of time, I'm not going to expand on this one. It is very important, as Polina had mentioned, that you really look at the overall mission. Now, if you, I mean, here we have the Kalo India pledge and objective. So pretty much the pledge really tells you what the mission of Kalo India is. And also within the objective, it is very well described how they are going to achieve it. So when you if you are an entity or an organization that is contributing or is a part or has a responsibility to meet this requirement, it is very important that your why is anchored into the pledge and the objective or the mission of the institution or the entity. Now, if the institution or entity that you work for does not have this as part of their mission, it would be very difficult to sustain. That's why Polina mentioned about ISU's mission, student affairs mission, and the CR mission, they align. So whatever they do, the badminton club had to be sure that their objective meets all the objectives or contributes towards the mission of the institution and the organization and also the club. So in the same way, if you need to develop a sustainable program, it is very important that whatever you do is aligned and contributes to the overall mission of I'm using Kalo India. It could be something of your own community, the mission of the community. If the mission of the community says contribute towards develop the health and wellness of the students, or your school, you have to be very sure that whatever you do contributes to the overall mission of the institution. Now, with that, we will open up for question and answers and discussion. So,
We guess we already have
I'm
into
sorry.
question and
For
answers.
the
yeah,
questions, shall I just put across?
sure, ma'am. Yes,
This,
yes, please.
how to change the social security and how to bring about a social community change is one of the questions asked by Sudhir Kumar Rana.
So that's a great question. And this is $1 million question, how to make the change. You have to really look in, this is again, I'm coming from my own personal perspective here you need to be the change agent. You need to lead it. Now, many a times we expect change to happen overnight. However, one needs to recognize that changes at the deeper root or the deeper level happens generational. So it is just like we all physical education teachers, I use this example in my last session is weight loss. You know, we can have an amazing regiment and but we can stick on to that regiment and lose weight. However, if you go and stand in front of a mirror or on a weighing scale every single day, you might not see a significant change at all. But on day one, you weigh yourself or take a picture, and on day 20, you take a picture, you will see a change. So believe in it. So there is change, but the thing is, it takes time. Now, there is a cultural shift, which is an important element in change. And those cultures also don't change at the chronological clock. It is also generational. It takes really time to change the belief system. So as teachers or as faculty, you are making a huge impact in the changing the mindset of the coming generation. That is the right way of going with it, is making sure that there is strength in numbers and in volume. So you are really molding the next generation of people who are really making a change. Our freedom struggle, It literally took 100 years of fight for us to be free. But it could have never been 1947. It is those 100 years. It is a culmination of all the struggles that put together got us the freedom. So believe in yourself. You are contributing. You are making a change. It is just that at any given day you don't see that change. But if you want to enforce yourself in that belief, look back and see where your students are right now. The students whom you taught 15, 20 years ago, where are they now? And just imagine, it might not be many, those few students who would have been in a very different path if not for you. So your role and what you have contributed makes a big change. So it was more a philosophical thought, but the way you can really make change is by being consistent, persistent, and believing in change, and you being the change agent.
Yeah, Zachariah, could you just stop sharing the screen, please?
Sure.
Yeah. Now for Polina, yeah, a question was they've asked like when you have in your club your students from across different cultures, like you find with the emotional temperament. So were the issues and how were you dealing with those? Maybe at times you find them to be aggressive, and how did you sort out those situations where you find the students coming from different cultures? How could you bring them to a common platform and bring in this? So to Polina, you'll have to unmute, please.
Microphone is off, Polina.
Excuse me. Thank you so much. That's a great question. And I would say, yeah, that we did face some challenges because of all of our backgrounds, but at the same time, I would say that bringing so much diversity in our club was actually so many benefits. So I would say that what we were trying to do, sometimes indeed you think about social gatherings is like a very time-consuming process, and everybody is doing homework or are busy with their own school stuff or life. But it was really important to make sure that we recognized every single member of the club. So I think it happened very organically or naturally that as soon as we got to know each other, when we knew about an achievement of some student or birthday, we just, our advisor or like executive board would bring like a simple cake to the practice, and in such a way it kind of made us build relationships among each other. And also, like, I liked the comments that somebody had in the comment section that indeed we became more than just a club. We were not just following our individual agendas. We became a small family. We built friendships, and in such a way, when we did have some situations like that, that somebody was in a bad mood, or was a little bit moody or something like that, we knew that maybe something happened. So what we did, instead of criticizing, we tried to listen to that person, and in such a way we kind of worked as friends, counselors sometimes. We pretty much had different capacities to work with the student. But I think overall it was quite easy because people treated each other as friends, as family, and having that common purpose of the club united us even more. So I would say that, and just to give another practical advice that we've been mentioning multiple times throughout the presentation, is social media played a very great role. Despite the fact that we were all on campus and all connected geographically or by location, it was still really important to check on one another. So we had a group chat on Facebook, and in such a way our advisor, our executive board, was always checking on our club and ensuring that everybody's doing well and everybody's committed to our club benefits. Yeah.
Okay, thank
Thank
you, Polina. For Shabaaz,
Mhm.
could you just tell us, because being from India, did you come across any challenges? And you started with the badminton. I think you took the initiative, and I said even you could generate funds, which we are looking
Mhm.
forward to. Did you come across any challenges when you took over or when you took up the initiative? Like, especially being an Indian, you could say from that perspective, and
Mhm.
otherwise. Yeah.
So basically, when I took up this initiative, I was more looking forward. I can say like it was more of Indian community who was playing in the beginning. I just came to the university. It was my first semester, and looking at the people like, okay, these people are playing badminton, which was my favorite sport. So I just joined them and played for a couple of times, and then it slowly started like just getting a person to train, a person who wanted to learn. They have contacted me and like they're like, I would like to learn the game, could you help me? I was like, sure, why not? Let's meet up so and so, and then we started continuing and then learning the game. So obviously difficulties come up. Being an Indian, uh, I could say that over here in United States, they have very strict rules. If they are given some set of rules to some people, no matter what, they are going to abide that. They're not gonna go over it. So one such thing could talk about the availability of badminton courts, as I mentioned earlier in my talks. So we did not have there were court mappings on the basketball court of badminton, but we were not allowed to play wherever we would like to we want to play. So it was a major difficulty. So whenever we planned to play, we had to go ahead and inform them like, hey, we would like to play, can we get the court at the reception? And then they would go over and check over the reservations and how many people are coming in. So we had a lot of time to wait, basically. And there were certain instances where people waited for 45 minutes and left because we didn't get the courts. So it was a major difficulty, I could say. And then comes the creation of club, where we saw that club has given an opportunity for a certain space in a gymnasium, a different place than a regular campus recreation center, which was a part of club sports. It was an athlete ground. It had a whole track, long jump, and everything. They had a perfect court zone over there, and then we were able to acquire a perfect timing of practice. That it's not just for 1 hour, some random day we want to meet up. We were given up a set of practice timings during the week. This, like, you have Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. These days of practice and these timings, you have to be there. And couple of times I can mention like our Indian timing, where we are mostly on the way coming, but still a 5-10 minutes late. And these kind of issues also happened, which has led to a couple of severe issues where our club was put into a certain stage, like we have to be there. If we are not following the discipline, we could be going over some major issues. So these were
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
what I
difficulties.
wanted to hint Shabaaz about, but I would not say that it's only Indian time. Ukrainians tend to do the same thing, so I would say it's a challenge for most international students that when we come to the United States, it's one of the challenges of punctuality, and in such a way, the executive board and the advisor had to come up with a system how to make sure that we have at least 8 people every practice on campus, and also like in such a way we also made our commitment level and much higher, and also we knew that we own the club, so we have to be responsible for its benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prerna. Over to Dr. Sanjay Prajapati.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I just want to ask one question. Like developing a model club and a program, that is one thing. But how can we bring the society, community into the sports? What type of motivation, what kind of encouragement we are going to provide the people, those who are working like a farmer, those who are working like a daily workers. So how we can motivate, how we can encourage them to get into the sports? Anyone can reply.
All right, I'll take that, and I think this is where the why comes into play. So, so the question is, what is it you really want? I mean, you used a farmer. You know,
Yeah.
what are the chances that he would let go or take away time from his sustenance and get into sports? But are there opportunities, or are there is there a need for wellness, a health? So you really need to look at, or even social engagement, bringing the community together. Everybody needs recreation. So is sports the only recreation? So, we can really look, I think that is where the why really comes into play. So if you're really talking about a group that might not be able to find time to do certain things or get involved in sports, that's where you really promote or sell something that they can take the ownership of. Health, wellness, or building a sense of community is even, I mean, when you really talk about it, can you build a sense of community through just having, literally playing cards or caroms? So I think that's where the purpose of that why really comes in. Now, if it's a school, you have authority, right? I mean, I was so happy to hear Honorable Sports Minister say that physical education is going to be an integral part of the curriculum. Just imagine the amount of potential that has. I remember those days. I was at that time a physical education teacher that literally many times you are ashamed to say I'm a physical education teacher. I'm sorry, but that's how the society saw you. Literally, we were told, I mean, I was told that you're a physical education teacher because your brain is in your knee. Gone are those days. Those days are behind us. So I think you need to develop that sense of belonging, in terms of having them believe that this is important for me. And we have to be very progressive and recognize what the need of the community is. That's where the citizenship really comes into play. You need to recognize what the need of the community is and plan it accordingly, so that whatever we are sharing with them is of some value. Sometimes I remember in the very first presentation Darlene had mentioned, or during the inauguration she had mentioned, what is the economic value of them taking part. So it simply could mean, how you really translate is, just imagine the amount of money that you're spending on medicine and healthcare. That might be. So the messaging really comes into play. The message has to resonate.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Rosa, you're running. I think we would. Rosa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and I will be very short because I know we don't have much time. But first of all,
your remarks.
Congratulations to you three for this very interesting presentation. I think in this presentation, this combination of theory and practice. So you've got, for example, anyone who wants to study community and social change. So you have the theoretical background, and then you can apply that for a research, but then you also have the practical part and how you can apply that. And I have to say to Polina and Shabaaz that you brought me like 23 years back when I was an international student myself. But those experiences that you described there, I mean, I also went through that process. And it's also, how do we need to serve or use our time in adaptation periods, okay? So that's one thing. I also believe that your presentation is quite relevant to all these teachers who are in this seminar, because it's how I can use sport, recreation, leisure activities to motivate, to provide a platform, a place in all those social places in which they are, in those territories, and to bring change. What is much more important is to diagnose and to know what they want. And we have some ideas what we can provide. So maybe if it is through dance, so let's coordinate activities and we dance and we then we start developing all those values that sport, that physical activity provides and are unique. But if it is not through dance, if it is through cooking, if it is through just doing all those elements that the community makes them get together and start developing those values that we really want to create, such as peace, self-being, how to be, you know, in peace. I would say that this is the first element, but also to care about others, because the idea is to have a better world in which we all are involved and we can provide, I would say, for governments in general, the sense that if they invest in these sort of programs, they could have a better society. And it's not that expensive. I mean, it's a service in which we could have all those illness, like the sedentary lifestyles and all those being, you know, eliminated by making more people, but providing those spaces to get together and to develop their own interest. So we could have a more community work, and that's what I believe that the world needs right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you
And
so much.
congratulations.
Thank you. Kluka?
I'll make this short because time is of the issue. The three of you were really marvelous in your presentation in terms of going from one person to the other person. So congratulations for your teamwork and your presentation. That was wonderful. I want to ask or put a situation out here. I was following the question and answers from the group as well as the chats, and a few had what I thought was a marvelous idea, that many times we have developed things for campuses or whatever, and it's always that the people come to us. Their suggestion was to have whatever the proposal is, or the contract is, if you will, and literally take it to the communities. I think that's a marvelous idea. And somebody the other day mentioned something about train the trainers. I always like to, training, the word training in my English is like you take a rat and you put it in a maze and then you train it to go find a treat. We're different than that. And so I like to say, educate the educating, you know, those types of things. So, but sport and physical activity and physical education for values is, they're only vehicles. And so how do we then, with our wonderful programs or wonderful ideas for programs, take it to the people so that we have a chance to change values through those means that we are all so good at?
I think if I may also add and piggyback on what you just said, Darlene, I think it's very, very important that there is ownership. So the code of conduct that the sports club, the recreation club has is not developed by the administrators. It is developed by the students. And even in the badminton club, it is not the board members who determine what needs to be done. They only shape it. It is the members who tell them what they need and what the purpose is. So it is collective. So it is very important. Yes, you cannot sell a product that you make. You can only sell a product that the consumers need and want. So you need to produce and make something, build something that they are asking for. Listen to them. Beautiful. Thank you very much for those concluding words. Thank you.
And I would like to add just one more comment, that our club, going back to Dr. Darlene's comment about how we should also bring sport and all the benefits of it to the community. I think we will be working with some of the communities in Terre Haute and we'll try to, with the help of Badminton Club, to bring resources to those community, to work with the youth that really needs it. And again, like talking about how it will definitely benefit their health, but at the same time, it will also benefit their personal development. At the same time, we will receive so much more from working with those children, and we will develop ourselves as better teachers, as better educators, and so on. So I think, like, yeah, I really appreciate that comment that we do need to take the resources, we do need to take the sport to the community as well.
Thank you, Klika. Kishore, sir? Dr. Kishore, sir?
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Usha. See, yet another remarkable session, and it's very, very informative, and somebody would have never realized that the impact of community, the recreation sports, which has got towards the entire nation building process, healthy lifestyle, and developing ecosystem. How much of deep and vast impact it has, this arena has got, and very aptly worded and well orchestrated presentation by all the three who have carried the session. Congratulate and appreciate the session led by Dr. Zachariah Mathew, Ms. Polina, and Mr. Shabaaz. So, I think it would have been an eye-opener for anyone who have heard that, how much this sports, which you otherwise undermine in by way of club sport or school sports or recreation club, college sports, that how much of impact it has got in the process of national building. And as rightly pointed out, philosophically, the cultural shift which can take place out of it. I think Dr. Zachariah Mathew has even thought about the freedom struggle of India, 100 years of freedom struggle. He has inter alia put this struggle into the category of a long, sort of struggle. The word which he used, it should be, something which is the human endeavor, collective endeavor, which has been through which we can liberate the country to freedom from the, from a power which it is being said as that there is no for a kingdom who has no sunset. So much of vast impact. So it shows the impact, philosophical impact, and huge impact in molding the next generation. How the next generation, the change which is happening, which are happening in the field. And he was the words which have been used that in the learning process you can act as a bumper and an helmet.
Helmet.
So you don't you fall, but we will guide you. You will guard you. But we will let you fall. We will fall and learn from that. So these are all very, very remarkable and something which is for to fail and learn. You learn from fail and set a new environment for learning. And you need to be the change which you want. That is, I think, the thought of Mahatma Gandhi. Whatever change you want to make in the system, you become the change first. That is what he has himself thoughted in his freedom struggle. So it is a lot of contribution, and these are all possible through the via media of community sports. And these are the impact of that has got a it's worth realizing, and it is worth realizing for everyone, so that you become a part of it. And when there is a cause as of now that we are into the next generation trends. So whatever next generation trends we have worldwide, it should be productive, positive, and towards the right direction. So this has definitely made everyone to realize that how this community sports can be taken into this dimension, and it can be taken up by the governments and the various agencies to make this role to play. So once again, congratulations, and I appreciate your time, your efforts, and your collective efforts, and well orchestrated. I could see that the way in which you have made the presentation is excellent. Great. Thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Shah, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. And we are indeed proud because Zachariah is one of our former, he's an alumnus of LNCPE. He has made our college, India, proud. So I need to thank. And before we wind up, I'd like to say we have a session tomorrow at 12:30. We have Elliot Grant who's coming in, who is going to meet and talk with our participants. The cricketer from New Zealand will be with us. And you need to have another ID. Please, you could take a shot of the Zoom webinar ID number. And please do join for the session with Grant Elliott. And evening, same at 5, we have a very interesting session on Special Olympics, where we have the experts from Ireland, US, and also we have some eminent experts who are blind. I think it's going to be a very remarkable session tomorrow. So see that please do take part in the session. Now on behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, Sports Authority of India, lectured by National College of Physical Education, I'd like to thank our most eminent distinguished speaker, Professor Zachariah Mathew, who took the initiative and brought in a topic of recreation, which was taught, I think, only theoretically, but it was taken with the help of his co-speakers. But thank you so much, Zachariah. And I'm sure we look forward to you to see how best we could start this setup at LNCP. So I'm sure we look forward to your help. So on behalf of all those present here, I need to say a big thank you to Professor Zachariah. I'd like to thank Polina from Ukraine. It was a wonderful session because I wanted our students to come and see. It was worth seeing how the leadership qualities and the environment that is prevailing is to educate the Indiana University. Their mission has brought you a platform where you could share the experience. So thank you so much, where we all the participants are highly appreciative, where you could share your experience and we know what you are. So thank you so much for being a part of it and a co-speaker for this session. I'd like to thank Shabaaz Khan, because you've done a wonderful job. Being from a engineering graduate, a lot of questions came in. How was that you got into sport? How did you get into recreation? So I'm sure with this, maybe sport would have been the one which would have helped you in a platform. So thank you so much where you brought in, and we are indeed happy every time when we see a Indian coming up. In spite of all the challenges, I'm sure you would reach great heights too. So thank you so much, Shabaaz, for your presence and us being a speaker. I'd like to thank Dr. Rosa, who I think being all throughout, since the 1st of June, we are there. Rosa, thank you so much for the constant support and for your organization by which we could really make it international. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Professor Kluka, because I know it's 6:30, you are early morning, you're there with us. And one day when we don't see you, we find there is no light in. So thank you so much for your valuable presence and gracing this occasion. I'd like to thank Dr. G. Kishore, our principal, who is there, who doesn't miss a single session of this. He takes note of it, and he's the one who's been so supportive. Thank you so much, Kishore, sir. We have a number of distinguished members, delegates, and all my dear participants. It's because of you that our program is a success. So once again, a big thank you and namaste to each one. Pranesh, could you stop sharing the screen, please? Yeah. So namaste and welcome to India. Welcome to LNCP. Kishore Sir, Zachariah has a program of some collaboration with their university, with LNCP. I'm sure in times to come, you would guide our students, and Zachariah could be one of the mentor and could help in bringing out some of our students also taking up such projects. So once again, thank you and namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clicker. Bye. Rosa's left.